the evening is now upon us. BLG versus Snake is happening live right now in Chongqing. Luckily, we've got you on delay, so you're not going to miss any of the action. Welcome back. I'm Dom. This is Clement. Let's get right into the picks and bans. And you'll notice the reason I'm talking so quickly is because we have that game ready and queued up for you. So let's just sprint through these as quick as we can and talk about what's important, because Snake, they just found success not doing a funnel strategy not 2 days ago, going back to a regular AD carry, putting SOFM on a good old-fashioned jungler and picking themselves some strong side lanes, and now they're running funnel Jace.
Yeah, but I have to say this is actually a good time to do funnel, because on BLG's side, their mid laner is going to be playing Vladimir and Sejuani, so two very slow champions early on. That means the funnel has a lot of chances to invade. I think this game is going to come down to how far ahead BLG can get their bot lane in Jin Zhao's Varus. That's the tempo pick that we've been seeing cropping up in the LPL and has been played in the LCK.
It seems like that's always the question, though, is how quickly can you accelerate the game to keep pace with that funnel composition? I want to ask you real quick about the strategy of Snake to try to bring a funnel composition, knowing they're down 0-1 in their home crowd in Chongqing. Do you think that this is a tactically sound idea to try to go back to something that has only really given you a couple of wins in your own conference?
I think the only reason they're doing it because they've already seen the Vladimir. The Vladimir only works in one position for BLG, and that would be the mid lane, so they know they're playing up against a slow mid. They want to use that and get all the farm possible. So this is a good scenario to use it, but BLG, they need to push the bot lane advantage as far as possible.
Well, we'll have to see if BLG can do it. Thank you so much for the analysis. Now it's time for our casters to get us into this game, too, between BLG and Snake.
Thank you, Mr. Roma, and we're going to get into game as fast as possible for you, because as you said, we have this one queued up, and we're getting into the second game now between Snake and BLG. Now, I do want to bounce off what the analyst was saying, the fact that BLG are actually running something a little bit slow on this side for them, and Snake on the opposite side, there is a chance for them to make this funnel happen. As we head on to Rift, I'm going to hand it over to Chongqing.
So this is the second time that we've seen the Jace funnel composition come out of Snake. Now, the permaban that's been against Snake for kind of their last few series has been the Taric and the Braum to dissuade a more traditional style funnel. Now, the thing about Jace is it makes sense for a funnel composition. You get the 1-2 item power spike and you just make everything go pop. And even though you're not running a traditional ADC, your ability to siege tower or the tools to continue to siege towers like a standard composition still exist with the Jace. So I like the theory. Unfortunately, from Snake, we haven't quite seen the execution, but here we go.
Mundo has found an SOFM on the flange. Similarly, they've done the same. Oh, he flashed into that one. Maestro coming in from the bot side into the apprehend and the follow through. Oh, SOFM on the Jace funnel. Gets first blood.
It doesn't get much more free than that. The first blood, the flash down on the Vladimir, and now the free entrance into the red buff. We'll see if SOFM is able to snowball this into a possible 3-buff scenario as we take a look at his runes, but that is from that is a pretty dire situation to start minute 1 in this game for Mole.
Yes, it is, Frosk. And to be honest, I mean, style of me, we had the first game. It turns out to be a loss. And you know what conditioning did right there? He was like, no longer. Back to me. Back to the funnel.
Chieftain's not going to get this in time. Oh, no.
Yeah. Maestro's on his way up, SOFM as well, 2 versus 1, and the funnel continues.
It's going to be first blood, double scuttle, 3 buff. You do not come back from that. He is. He's just going to rock up into the top side and take... Oh, no.
Everything.
That is actually devastating as a jungle. Now, we saw Score do this when KT faced, I believe it was Machi, or maybe it was Mad. It was Raze as the enemy jungler, and he 3-buff double scuttled him, and from minute 2, nothing. You cannot come back from that. You are pretty much just done.
Yeah, that's where you end the scrim, to be honest, but we're on stage in Chongqing, so you can't do that. And SOFM is going to take absolutely everything. Oh, he gets his beloved Raptors, gets some hot chicken in there.
He took his red buff, his Raptors, bottom scuttle, top scuttle.
Mid lane wave.
2 mid lane waves right now.
2 mid lane waves, yeah.
Okay, we're holding on. If you're a BLG fan, just close your eyes. I'll tell you when to open them in about 10, 15 minutes, maybe.
Maybe don't open them at all. Maybe. There's a chance that happens as well. Yeah, 140 gold off of the scuttles, 300 off the initial cut, 400, sorry.
He slipped in. He's going for that red buff. Now, he's doing this because he feels confident because Road and Jin Zhao are so far forward.
Quiet.
But they know. They know.
He's being very sneaky right now. Uh-oh. Oh, he's no solid snake,
Mom's
is he?
home. Quick, run!
Oh, scram!
Oh, no!
Flash over the wall. He's fine. I was never here in the first place, suckers.
Oh,
You found me.
it's not his fault.
It's not. It's really not. Who died? Who was the offender? It's Mole.
No, even though, here's the thing, even if Mole hadn't died, he's still going to get shoved in because he's the Vladimir, but you might have, you know, some potential to fight because maybe Mole feels more confident walking into River because now that he doesn't have Flash.
So
he
whose fault is
absolutely
it,
cannot.
Frosk? Is it the coach?
No, glass half full. It's Snake playing it well.
Yeah, but if we had to, like, say everyone who was playing well and then said who was playing least well, who would that be?
Wow, Raz. Yeah, everyone's great. Here's your
But
participation
who is
award.
good? Not who is great. Who's playing good right now?
Tarek.
Tarek.
Guoguo.
Okay, all right.
He is the greaterest
Good
right now.
Good deflection. So yeah, so still, I want to see the gold. I want to know how much gold SFM has, because you know
Well,
what
he
he
has a
did?
BF
He went
sword.
back to base and just full bought a BF sword.
At 5 minutes in the game.
Yeah, and boots. So
And he's got boots?
yeah, got the brown bags.
Where is the justice?
He got the BF sword.
So here's the thing. If you I
Got the buff.
coached. I coached for a long time.
Yeah.
I coached with a couple of international teams. I've coached in 3 different regions. If this ever happens in a scrim, you are automatically FF. There is no way your players are playing out the start of this game because they will just bitch and they will be tilted for the entire day, and you don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. So are you telling me that BLG from here are just gonna tilt and lose the next game or this game?
If it was any other team, I would say yes, but because it's BLG, I'm actually going to
Jay.
say no, because this team consistently plays from behind.
Yeah.
They have such a strong mental fortitude. So I think that they'll be okay, but people just need to understand like how frustrating this type of situation is.
Oh boy. We're just getting blasted in the bottom lane. Chieftain is taking a camp though. Got that going for him, which is nice. Okay, so Chieftain's level 3, and SOFM is level 6. This is probably the biggest differential I've seen in the jungle ever. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen a jungle 3 levels down.
Like I said, the win condition for BLG at this point is they just need to survive the lane phase. It's complete damage control. So if they can hide Chieftain, if they can try to minimize any sort of gold disadvantage between their laners, as well as keep everyone alive, at that point, that's a win. Snake on the other side, they have this massive window. We talked about why, in theory, the Jace gold funnel would be so devastating. Jace, one of the most powerful champions in the game at 1 to 2 items. The fact that even though you don't have an ADC, you still have so much access to continue to siege, to poke, to control objectives, to duel. So you need to survive that window.
Yeah. What? Dude, what was that damage out from SOFM? Oh my god, Mole.
But now we do need to have all eyes on SOFM. He's a phenomenal player. His mechanics are absurd. This is the OG Levi. This is the prodigy of Vietnam.
Yep.
But the last time we saw him on a champion like this, the Kaisa, he wasn't used to playing it. You know, he's a jungler. He does like to go deep. He likes to be the playmaker. Yes, he can outplay and have these incredible miracle moments, but also sometimes just give a little bit of power in. Just kind of go in there for no good reason.
Yeah, he's not a serial inter as such, but there is definitely some power in. Sometimes even a giga in. Now, I've seen him on Kai'Sa with that gold funnel, and that was, let me tell you something, that was a giga in.
And when you throw away all of your advantage, you get into some bad news bears, but right now, going hot for him as they look for a dive.
Yeah, this is a big old
that damage.
Jace. Yeah, that's his half health, the also Johnny. Into the top lane. Yeah, flash away for that one, because SOFM will kill you if he finds you.
Oh, Abyssal Voyage. No, he's
The
only
top
level 4.
lane.
Does it
Oh,
have it?
double upper hand! Meanwhile, in the top lane, Chieftain is dead. SOFM finds 1, and BLG are reconsidering when they want this. That's an early Cosmic Radiance, though. Flandre by himself gets a bit of help back. He will be the sacrificial Flandre. As SOFM escapes from the play, Guoguo may also sacrifice himself, depending on the lick. Flashes away from that one. Good stuff, but the red buff has spawned.
And finally, the second rotation of buffs, and I think Chieftain might actually get both of them, unless SOFM takes this wave and just rocks up to it, because Light and Maestro have complete control over bottom.
It's Chieftain's birthday. He gets 2 buffs.
Good
Unbelievable.
Jin Zhao just throws the thumbs up.
Yeah.
You think you can handle me in the 1v2? I was born in the 1v2. I have not
Let me
known
tell you.
support since I started playing competitively.
He's been through something. Yeah, SOFM. bit of a misplay in the top side. I mean, he gets the kill onto Chieftain, but I really think it was down to the Cosmic Radiance. Now, yeah, that's an Essence Reaver.
Essence Reaver
yeah.
8 minutes in the game.
Yes, he does.
Ooh.
Yeah. 102 farm to 30.
I love this game.
Yeah, SFM. I mean, this is what it's meant to look like. You know, we saw so many funnels come out of Style Funnel Me, but half of them went wrong and half of them went right. This is one of the ones that is going right now. They just need to finish off the game. And as you said, you were talking to me, you were saying that the Jace is more about this mid-game, come in hard, smash people before you scale off. Now, is he going to smash people for us?
Right. Well,
is he gonna smash someone? Is he... Is he gonna kill someone?
What I was gonna say is that SOFM's gonna get all of the credit here, and he does play beautifully, 2-0-1 right now. But I just feel like Guo is really on point right now. He's ace.
He's ace. He's on
Mint.
fleek. He's crushing it.
Because that's really what's causing Mole all of these problems. I think that's the 4th Taric stun that he's been locked into.
It is. And that's the only thing he really needs to get away from. You know, he could also do that thing where he sanguine pools.
Oh, do we really? He's got a family.
Sanguine pool.
Oh.
W key. Bind your whole keyboard to W. Uh-oh. Top lane. Noxie might.
They're going for the dive because here comes Taric and Jace.
Yeah,
so AJ needs to keep running. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't look back.
Go, Forrest Gump. Get out of there. No, he's SWFM. Oh, he's dead.
I love you, Ginny.
We will remember you.
And that's now going to be the first tower down in favor of Snake. And as Papa Smithy likes to talk about, the equation is that to survive the funnel, you need to grab hold of the first towers in 15 minutes.
Yeah. What did you call it in Rift Rivals? You were saying there was the Chinese funnel. I think this one's imported. This one's a solid, big old metal funnel. And it's right down SWFM.
Chieftain is trying his little hardest to get
smite, by the
anything.
Way. He's about to
no.
get it. Kite. 2 seconds.
Oh no!
2 seconds. Okay. Mole saves him. Good guy, Mole.
We're getting something back. Okay,
yeah, this sucks even PvE. This is great. Oh, we had something on the bot side.
Oh,
good
CC luck. Chieftain, he is trying to get it again. You have to talk about this. This is a super young player, the Korean player on this roster, so this is technically a dual language roster. He's brand new to the LPL. He's played less than half a split. To keep your composure in this type of situation, to being consistently looking for opportunities, acquires the dragon, makes a gank successful in the bot lane. You usually don't see that out of very young players. Normally, they just fall flat on their face, they look for the claps, and they continue to bleed out. So, there's life. There's a pulse.
There is. We've got one, they've got one. It's faint, as is mine, but there's still a chance. Because we're, what, 2,300 gold ahead, and I would wager all of that is on SOFM.
And this is what we're waiting for, you know. Is it going to be style of me or is it going to be int of me? Because SOFM can throw away all of your gold lead.
That is true.
On a crazy play because he wants to be a little bit flashy.
Remember, it's about this mid-game as well. He's got to make all of this happen. Because yes, while he's just blasting people left and right, he has to actually, you know, close out the game and get objectives.
Yeah, we talk about the timer all the time. You're still looking down the barrel of a Vladimir, a Varus, as well as a Mundo. So, like we said, this is expected. It shouldn't have gone this badly.
Yes.
But
and this is not expected, but like, yeah,
the
strong in
early
a mid-game, yes.
In terms of how the timeline was going to play out, if this was a storybook, you would expect, in the beginning tale, our hero Snake run away with an early lead. But then around mid and late game, if it lasts that long, don't know how long this book is, BLG would start to climb their way, wiggle their way back into it.
It depends, right? Because like the classic thing in media is that you have like a thing that needs to get over in like, you know, the latter half of the story.
To forge them.
Right, and then you come in at the end and it's a happy ending.
Ah, see, this is their conflict.
Bot lane, yeah, because they're taking Herald on the opposite side. So is it going to be enough? Because they're powering up right now, like a good anime, and they are of course against BLG. So will they be able to make use of the tempo that we'll get from Miss Shelly? What do you think Shelly's second name is? Because we know her first name is Sheldine. Oh, I learned from the LCK guys.
Mary is her middle name.
Oh, okay.
Weldon.
Weldon?
Isn't it?
What is?
Geraldine Mary Weldon.
Oh, okay. Cool. So, yeah,
I don't know. I'll talk to Chris.
All right, cool. Meanwhile, Guogo going to finish this one off in the mid lane. That's Medusi Gold over to the jungler. SOFM looks like he is building up the Black Cleaver to be next on the docket list. Or maybe it could be Triforce as well, we'll see.
We would expect that Shelly would be used to take down the mid tower. You can already see the assist ping coming through. And here's the real test for BLG again. This is about damage control. They need to just hold on until about 25 minutes, and then they can start peeking their toe forward, inching it in, trying to get back into this game. Maybe look for some stragglers with the Abyssal Voyage as well as Sejuani. Try to find Snake out of position on the map. Who would ever expect that would happen?
Yeah, unfortunately the pool, it looks like water, but it's actually acid. It's not great.
I mean, you can see that BLG are trying to catch Snake in their own hubris there. You know, hiding in the red buff
I like
bush.
it. And look at the multiple control boards as well. They're making sure that there's 100% the play will work. Unfortunately, Snake were literally in their base and running back onto the map, setting up for the next objective.
I actually think BLG are one of the best vision teams in the LPL. Now, their vision stats aren't stellar if you look at them. Like, it's statistically, it doesn't really peek out at you, but if you watch where they place their vision, how they place around their vision, they like to set up traps, and they are a fairly cerebral team. And you have to have these bare basics kind of drilled into you when you consistently lose early game as much as BLG used to. Now, it has gotten better since they have Chieftain and Mole, but it's still ingrained. They understand how to have defensive vision, how to clear out deny, how to make safety avenues to walk through, and how to set up plays like this that allow them to come back into games. And so it is always something that's enjoyable to watch, especially in the LPL.
Sure.
We don't have a lot of strong vision teams, but BLG are one of them.
I mean, they're overspread. They're the best of both. They actually have good ward coverage and also go for those big team fights to actually bring themselves back into a game. And it's also not about the amount of vision they have, it's how they use it. And I mean, it's been very good from BLG, as you said, with that vision play. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, that's how it went down to Snake, and they're setting up in the mid lane. See if they can burst before Shelly comes in. That's not going to be the case, and I don't know if they're going to look for another push either. So they will back away from this one. So they just open up mid. It's not the most value Herald I've seen in the world, but also not the worst either. And that was indeed a Black Cleaver. 2-item Jace at 15 minutes.
It's a get-her-done situation. You now have got the 2-item Jace that you just talked about, so push down that last tower and just start causing havoc. Snake are online and unlocked right now. They want to cause as much chaos and as much pain right now.
Yes, they do. Everybody's a target. But if we're talking about scaling options going into the late game for BLG, you've got Amazing J, who happens to be itemizing armor because he is facing down Darius. Oh, lovely. We actually get to see
Jace.
Darius, Jace, exactly. I'm just taking a look at the gold total. SOFM almost 4,000 gold ahead of Chieftain. Yep.
It's also the mid laner. 5,000 versus 8,000, almost close to 9,000.
Oh, right. So you're adding them up, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 12,700.
It's real rough.
Yeah, to about 10k from Mo and Chieftain. Yeah, pretty big advantage. And again, we were just saying, like, look at the total gold totals. About 1,500 gold ahead, while 2,000 is currently on SOFM and the duo of Guogo. So you can see the funnel has indeed worked out. Just take a rocket scientist to say that. Now, I've just watched BLG push up the top tower, take one, move into the second. And my question mark is, where is Snake right now?
Exactly, they're on the wrong side of the map. And look at all the vision control that Snake have. Now, they have placed so much gold and so much vision for an Ocean Dragon versus an inner tower. So BLG trading up massively. And we talked about how good BLG's vision game is. And it's not necessarily, again, the number of wards placed, but where they're placing their vision and how they move around it, which is also why I pick, I like the Rakan for Road, but Tom Kinch is also a great pick for them because it allows them that access to mobility. And it's not just, you know, Jin Zhao pressing forward, it's the fact that Chieftain and Road are right there, they have the Abyssal Voyage, they're ready to dig him out of safety, and they're placing the safety net underneath him to take these types of trades.
Protect and stall, and both of those things that Tom Kinch offers are very, very good for BLG in this specific situation.
And look at the gold lead. It's only a 1k difference between these two teams. We know that majority of that is stacked onto SOFM. Yeah, he still has an incredible experience lead. He is really hot on his items right now. He's going to hit like a truck. But if you constantly are dancing around and you never fight the Jace, are you really behind?
Ooh, Flandre flashes away right into the open arms of a Chieftain who locks him down. Road here as well, looking for those stacks to add up, but doesn't even need them because Jin Zhao comes in with the arrow, finds the kill.
And the response is that AJ already recognizes that Snake were on the bottom side of the map. I assume that BLG should actually reset their position because that's a pretty sizable wave, and Snake could theoretically push through.
No one's moving.
They want to take their backs.
No, they chicken out. You can see that again. Yeah, Flandre really just caught with his pants around his ankles.
And it's really these three key members that are keeping BLG in it. Credit to Guoguo and Amazing J. They're reacting appropriately when the other three members are on kind of their seek and destroy missions, walking back into Fog of War, keeping themselves safe, and kind of starving Snake of any counter options or answering options. But credit to Jin Zhao, Road, and Chieftain. They are the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, they are. Making it happen. And remember, Chieftain, like to talk about the mental game once again, because you touched on it in the early game, Frost, because this guy has held on.
You just have to remember that majority of these players are between 17 years old to 21 years old.
Yeah.
They don't have a ton of life experience. I mean, of course, it's going to differ from player to player to player. A lot of them are leaving home for the first time, moving into a gaming house or a gaming facility, taking on all of these different responsibilities. I mean, it's so unfortunate that the community doesn't get a great look behind the curtain at kind of all the different facets, because then teams start to make so much more sense. So many people just kind of look at the black and white of the strategy. Why would you pick that? Why are you playing this way? Why don't you do that? Why is the draft like this? Well, if you see how these players talk to each other, how they interact, how the fact that they're still just young adults, really growing into themselves, and then having all of that pressure of also being a professional, I'll say athlete in this instance, in this scenario, I mean, it makes sense why, you know, sometimes shit just happens. Sometimes it just goes a little bit sideways, a little bit wonky, and you look at these young kids' face and they just smile and they laugh about it.
Yeah. Sometimes the manure does indeed hit the windmill, and it's sad because it feels like, you know, terms like cyber athlete get thrown around and just kind of get memed, but people don't actually think about it. They just kind of like avoid the question by memeing. And I know I do that a lot, but like it's not necessarily a good thing in the overall scheme of things when you look at esports.
6 hours of scrim blocks, and if you lose every single scrim, you're probably not going to have a good game day, regardless of strategy, but more so, you're just tired. You're just burnt out. Tired of getting kicked around, which is why you don't play scrims like this. But that also means that you don't get a lot of experience playing in these types of situations. So many teams would have FF'd here because they didn't want to try to tilt their team, especially early on in a scrim block. You don't want to look down the barrel of your entire day being like, hey, remember that one game that we played 45 minutes because we had to stall out from a Jace being 4-0?
But again, tenacity of BLG, one of the few teams I think in the league I can 100% say, if you're looking for a comeback to probably happen, it's BLG. They've been forged in this. And
when you talk behind stage about BLG, the number one thing that people will say about them, most hardworking team in the LPL. They scrim all the time. They have very long scrim blocks. They'll take them very seriously. So for all I know, BLG could be a team that if this happens in scrim, they play it through. And maybe that's how they built up that fortitude. Former coach Kesman used to be the coach of BLG. If that name sounds familiar, he's now RNG's coach.
Hey.
And what did RNG do at MSI? They were able to fall behind early game and then just come swinging back late game. An unmovable mental fortitude. So Kesman already leaving his fingerprints all over the teams that he touches.
100%. I mean, you see that across the league, left and right. Here comes Chieftain into the mid lane, looking for a pick on to Maestro. Maestro goes into Zonia's Hourglass. The chase down continues. Celestial is good. Ultimate coming in from Guoguo. But in the end, no kill. Good attempt at the pick right there.
But we've made it. We've close to that 25-minute mark where
3 minutes to go.
You know, the Jace is not necessarily losing his momentum, but doesn't have as big of a lead as he once had early on in this game. And BLG are finding that confidence, starting to throw their face forward, looking for these team fights. You've got the gold on the Vladimir now. You have the tank stats for both your Mundo and your Sejuani, and BLG can start playing these fights front to back.
And again, we've got to check in, and the fact is the stone wall, as it were, when you hit the 25-30 minute mark, and you're looking at Amazing J. How's he doing? Item and a half, almost hit his Spirit Visage. Like, these guys are getting pretty big. Double items on Jin Zhao. Mid lane, Mole, 100 stacks on the spell Binder. And in the jungle as well, Chieftain pretty much ready to go with his Knight's Vow and his Cinderhulk. So BLG, they're getting there.
And you have to think, what went wrong for Snake? Why weren't they able to snowball heavily? Why is this gold lead so narrow a margin at this point in the game, especially with that type of start? I want you to cast your eyes back, go through this VOD, and watch where Guoguo is. He's the Taric. Yes, he's not the support usually, he's the mid laner, but he then doesn't have it ingrained what the support's responsibility is once the maps open up. He's entirely dependent on SOFM. He just follows him around, he's on a leash, but then he's not placing vision, he's not moving that forward, they're not able to have the flanking vision so Jace can step up so they can attempt to siege these structures and continue to snowball when they're strong. And it sounds very small and very minuscule, but Snake's vision line it's not really seeing anything. At some points, they'll have one side of the map completely lit up. But what does that translate into? A Cloud Dragon, an Ocean Dragon? They haven't been snowballing their structure advantage.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate depending on what they've been prioritizing as well, because you think back to the top lane where it was the inner tower being traded for Dragon, that was the priority from Snake. Now, if these were all Infernal Dragons, then you'd be like, okay, great, double Infernals right now, Snake, but that's not been the case. Now, the 4th Dragon to spawn is going to be an Infernal.
And frankly, the RNG has worked out in BLG's favor, because like you're saying, if they had gotten the double Infernal, there's no way BLG can contest. They fell too far behind early, so by God's good graces, they were not put into an even deeper hole by losing out on the early game. And that's part of the reason why BLG really struggled in the beginning of Spring Split before they got Chieftain and Mole, is that if a game came along where it's double Infernal out of the gate, there's no way they'd ever get it.
100%. Now, I will say the caveat in all of this is we haven't seen SOFM hit anyone in a while. Now, he's picked up a full item between then and now, in the form of the Moorman Mortius, and Boots as well. So, he could still rip through targets. We wouldn't know. BLG don't know. I don't even know if SOFM knows. But when he gets into a fight, we'll see how much damage he can do.
He is also level 16, so has a lot of points and a lot of abilities.
He does. And he clears out control wards very quickly, as you can see. And it is getting to a boiling point, a breaking point in this game for certain between these two teams, looking for a fight. But both teams are now powered up. That's the other thing that we need to mention, because BLG, basically negligible gold difference in this game, absolutely nothing really in it. 300 gold is nothing at this stage in the game. So BLG, their resources are distributed evenly amongst the team, whereas a lot of it for Snake is fully in SOFM's hands. So when we get to these fights, it's definitely a 50-50, back to a 50-50. 25 minutes exactly for us. Here we go.
And it comes down to execution then. A lot of eyes again on Guoguo. Tarek and Braum have almost been perma-banned away from Snake for a very long time. It wasn't until recently that these champions opened back up in the draft phase. So obviously something's been happening at scrims. We haven't seen a ton of footage of repeated Tarek games from Guoguo. But see if it's a champion that he suits with, because a Tarek ultimate will make or break this.
Yeah. Good Cosmic Radiance in the right place on multiple members. In a fast fight like this as well, mitigating all that burst damage coming from Mole, Jinjiao. Again, the attacks are big. How long can they hold the front? Mole stepping up.
Mole, level 15,
Good
should
finding.
be in a side lane and trying to race towards that level 16. The 3 points in the Hemoplague will make a massive difference. And again, if we're talking about kind of where the finish line... Uh-oh!
Oh, Chieftain over the wall, face first into SOFM, reconsiders engaging.
Yeah, God bless. Oh no.
Road taking some hits right there.
As I'm talking about, what they want is that finish line. They want the level 16. They want a little bit more time. There's no reason to try to force this one, BLG. You're getting impatient and you're getting desperate. Wait until Snake overextend for the Baron. Wait until they overextend for a tower siege. Wait until you're forced to react. There's no reason to jump the gate now.
Man, Chieftain very close. I think that Snake were just as spooked as Chieftain was, being face-to-face with SOFM. They're stepping up to this brush right here, zoning them away from this ward, gaining control, gaining pressure. This is a cannon minion wave, but it will be cleared very quickly by BLG. Snake can't use this to leverage to take down the tower. Mole comes back from base, still at level 15. Very, very low on experience. Long way away from level 16. Slow up from the Visions of Empire, and Mole 1v1 against Flandre off to the side. The fight opens up on the front line. Amazing J by himself. Guoguo is dead. Mole, he's sticking down, but the rest of the team is doing good work right now. Flandre finds the tick damage. So 1-for-1 so far. The team really feeling about the re-engage. Amazing J back to full health. Apprehended in, followed through, looking for the Noxian Mine. He is taking a lot of damage very quickly. Oh, what an ultimate coming out of SOFM. Finds one, finds two, everyone is bleeding. Darius dies, Amazing J so low, but will manage to escape. SOFM knocks back Road, but the rest of the team is here to tank. Oh, last tower shot, almost enough to take him out, but he lands an auto attack on the backside. Gets a bit of healing, and Light, what a gentleman, holds open the door.
And it was Snake that eventually won the team fight. We'll see what they're going to do with it. Maybe they have access to TPs, maybe they have access to Honey Fruit. But AJ pulls the trigger on the TP. He wants to hold the Baron and make sure that they don't lose any more ground here. And I think he may have done just that. Shows his face in the mid lane. Snake are unable to go for the Baron, and it's just the fight, not even a tower.
Massive wave top, massive wave bot. That's going to be at least double cannons top, if not triple cannons at bot lane. So that has to be addressed here by Snake. And also, if they went for Baron, they'd probably all die to that Mundo. He's still very, very, very tanky. Let's take a look at the fight once again.
And the big thing is Flandre on the top side. So what's going to happen is, oh wait, they started this really late. Never mind, Mole is already dead.
Yes.
So it's
downs.
the re-engage and the ultimate coming out of Maestro here. Forces the Sejuani into a bad position. Flandre then gets access into the back line and just cleans house. But look at how close this fight was. Remember how this game started. This is Snake now need to understand how to close games, how to make the funnel composition work for them. Again, they're mid-tier in the Western Conference.
Yep.
They've been playing funnel pretty much all split long, and they haven't mastered it yet. And BLG, bottom of the barrel, trying to find momentum, returning to old form, and standing tall when it counts.
And again, it's an acknowledgement from Snake as well. Flandre picking up the BS sword, moving towards the Guardian Angel as well, that he also has to be a damage threat, get in there with the Triforce on top of that as well. He's looking to nuke some nerds and immediately get his Noxian Might and start resetting off of people. Very important to do so, especially facing down someone like Vladimir. You want to put him down and keep him down before he can start regenerating. So, important stuff for Snake going into the next couple of fights, but BLG, I mean, they're not far off finding these fights and consistently winning them. They're actually forcing a play onto Ban right now. Jinjiao 4-1. He's a big old Varus. This has been spotted by the blue trinket. Instant reaction coming out from Snake, but it may be too late, I fear. Here come Maestro and the squad. Not committing to that. That was down at 25% maybe.
Meanwhile, Flandre is able to take down an Infernal. It's going to be the Elder next, but a huge boost of power for Snake's composition. So still a massive win as well as the mid tower.
Wow. I mean, BLG, if they'd maybe committed to it, could have bursted down. It would have forced a fight when Flandre had teleport. That's the scare, and Amazing J did not. Amazing J did not have teleport. Unfortunate situation for them to be in, but that's a mid lane tower dropping eventually, and now Baron is up for Snake to look towards, and at the very least, contest and pressure.
Which means the most important area on the map is going to be this mid lane. Now, the outer mid tower is still standing for Snake. BLG must get that down pretty much at all costs, because otherwise they're constantly playing at the back foot where Snake will have easier access and easier rotation into the Baron area. And like you said, this is what we're playing for now.
We're playing for keeps, we're playing for all of the marbles. BLG, remember, are at match point. They win this, they win the series. Snake need to win this if they want to keep their chances at winning this series alive in the home arena here in the Snake Pit. Important for them to do justice to the crowd that has gathered here in Chongqing. The 30 minutes on the clock, and BLG have successfully stalled, getting closer and closer, maybe asymptotically so, to actually finding a win in these fights.
Now they have 2 blue trinkets available to them for BLG. I think at this point you actually just have to play in the mid lane tower. You can't really afford to go into the jungle against this type of composition, and then just try to play around the timing windows of your blue trinkets, get your side lanes pushing hopefully, and just frankly wait for a mistake or continue to attempt to stall. Mole has been sitting at level 15 for about 5 minutes in this game. There he goes. Finally ticks over to 16.
Yeah. Finally. On that minion wave. Still takes a lot of damage from SOFM. Oh yeah, needs her Sanguine pull that one. Here comes the Tam Kench, but right into the meat grinder! Flandre blasts him, immediately coming out of the Abyssal Voyage to find his end. 2 kills to SOFM.
I wasn't aware that Uber Eats was holding a promotion there.
Here in China, yeah.
Jin Zhao just got free delivered. Maybe a bit of a misclick, maybe a bit of miscommunication, but that might be the game there. Losing your ADC, massive power lost.
Disastrous out from BLG. And that was one of those moments where you are committed, and Road feels it, and Jin Zhao's inside him, and he sees it as well. He looks out of the belly, and Tam Kench is like, I don't want this anymore, my friend. But they are committed right into a Darius, right into an Apprehend. Top tower falls, so does the Inhib. Flandre and Maestro are knocking on the front door. They're going to take this one down, and Inhib soon to follow. We've got Jin Zhao and Road just coming back from base. Abyssal Voyage not up, but they have home guards and they get there very quickly. Snake dealing potentially fatal damage to the BLG base.
And Road is just the hinge on which BLG swing. If he does well, they do well. And if he does that, here we go.
Oh, Mole face first into Snake. He jumps away into the belly of Road. Is it enough though? Taracle comes down in Fun for over 2 seconds. How much can he do with it? The answer, a hell of a lot. Maestro chasing down Chieftain Amazing J. The tanks, they're alive, but where's the team? Nowhere to be seen. They'll take down Maestro, but 3 kills over to Snake, and they are looking for the win.
And that should be all that she wrote. Light, make sure that he tanks up the tower so they can preserve the minion wave. There's no way that AJ can block it here, and with how fed Jace is, it will crumble.
Snakes. It had to be Snakes in the Snake Pit here for BLG. And they will lose this game. Snake will bring us to the third and final game tonight.
Two different looks and two different styles from Snake. They went for more of a standard composition. In game number 1, SOFM playing the support. And now in game number 2, they bring it back to style of Funnel Me. And it worked out.
Get a jungler who can do both. Support, he protects, he attacks. And when he attacks, apparently it's pretty good. Managed to take this one.
Credit to Gogo there. I had some questions on how he was going to perform on the Taric. Only 1.3k damage, but hit the ults when it mattered, hit the stuns when it mattered, and got SOFM off to a springboard start. Excellent performance from Gogo.
Yeah, SOFM, it was a little dicey towards the mid-game. We're talking about that 25-minute mark. There was a big stall coming out from BLG, but in the end, Snake were able to close it. A couple fatal mistakes coming in from BLG, namely, I saw one from Road. Unfortunate. That was an int that took an ally with him. So he made someone else int, which felt pretty bad.
I do like the trust fall, though, that Jin Zhao was just
willing
to put it all on the line for his support.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I absolutely do. For now, though, we're going to send it to the analyst desk to take a look at the game and send us into our third and final one of the night.
Thank you, guys. And that was it. The Snake victory. The funnel, I asked you, is now such a tactical idea, or is it such a tactically sound idea to take the funnel strategy in game 2 after you've just lost with it so many times? And turns out, yeah.
Everything has a time and a place, and for this time, it was good. They've already seen the Vladimir being selected for BLG, and if people don't know, Jin Zhao cannot really play the Vladimir. They've had 0 wins on the mages, so it was going to go mid. That was for certain. And Vladimir is a very slow champion in terms of the early game. The Sejuani was also selected, which is another very slow pick. So I think the funnel made a lot of sense going in early strong. You had the Darius, you had the Jace, and the Taric. Those 3 are definitely going to win out the top side, and that's exactly how Snake managed to snowball the early game and get that massive lead.
Of course, that being said, we do have to compliment BLG on the other side for successfully splitting the map during that early laning phase. They did sacrifice a lot early on, of course, giving up that kill in the mid lane. Mole helping to snowball that Jace to, what was that, an 8-minute, 9-minute Essence Reaver?
Yeah,
was it with a 5-minute BF sword?
Yep.
But Jin Zhao, on the bottom side of the map, was able to push and take that turret. And then they rotated him up top. In about 15 minutes, he took the top tier 1 and then carried on to the top tier 2, getting to be pretty big for a Varus.
Yeah, and I have to say that this should never have been allowed to happen on BLG's side. I don't think Snake had the best idea in their mid game. What they should have done was say, okay, we have a fed Jace. We're now going to use that Jace and make sure the Varus never grows up.
Yeah.
Make sure your children never grow. That's basically the strategy for them. And then what they should have done was just forget about the laning phase. You all in onto the enemy jungle. You take away every camp you possibly can. And in that jungle, when you have vision advantage, when you have explosive cask and Jace and Darius apprehend, like, you're just going to dominate that place. There's no way that BLG should have been able to push patch the river if Snake played that correctly.
But that's where we saw BLG, as you said, deny that vision advantage. I think during the cast we heard it a lot from Frost, how BLG were setting up intelligent vision lines to keep constant information of where that Jace was. Anytime they saw him on the map, they would move to the other side and try to dodge that pressure, leave the Mundo to soak the minion waves, that sort of thing. And this stalled the game out until about the 30-minute mark, where we started to see BLG get a little emboldened, where they started stepping forward and looking for kills.
Yeah, we do have to remind everyone that this composition, if you're a gold funneling cup, you go late game, everyone has 6 items, you have completely failed, because you're looking at your composition with 2 supports that don't have a lot of combat stats.
Yeah.
So it was really on the burner for Snake right there, and I think it did come off of a couple of mistakes from BLG at the very end there, but the main idea for Snake was correct. Just play in the jungle, wait for mistakes, and try to force all of that resources, force BLG to consistently contest for resources when they're behind Golden Vision.
Yeah, and that constant forcing was able to enable them to get that advantage. That said, we've got Game 3 coming at you. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break while we get it ready for you.
请重庆的召唤师们继续带给 Snake 力量，雄起！